They looked at you and decided who you were. In a glance, in a handshake, in the first 30 seconds. They decided you weren't smart enough, weren't connected enough, weren't polished enough, weren't loud enough, and they filed you away. In the drawer marked harmless, in the category labeled not a threat, they turned their attention to the louder voices, the bigger names, the shinier objects. They forgot about you. And that moment of being dismissed is the most powerful position you will ever occupy. Because the man who is underestimated operates in the shadows. He moves without surveillance. He builds without interference. He grows without resistance. While every eye is on the obvious players, he's in the corner, sharpening his blade in silence. Tonight, we're going to explore the dark psychology of being underestimated, why it happens, why it hurts, and why the man who masters it becomes the most dangerous person in any arena. Because there is no greater advantage than being invisible to the people you're about to surpass. The human brain makes thousands of judgments per day, most of them unconscious, and the most powerful judgments happen in the first 7 seconds of meeting someone. In those 7 seconds, the brain scans for status signals: clothing, posture, voice depth, eye contact, handshake pressure, vocabulary, confidence markers, and within moments, the brain sorts the person into a category: threat or non-threat, equal or inferior, competition or irrelevant. Psychologists call this thin slicing. Your brain takes a razor-thin sample of information and extrapolates an entire narrative from it. And the narrative is almost always wrong, but it feels completely right. That's why first impressions are so sticky. They're not accurate, they're fast, and the brain prioritizes speed over accuracy, because on the evolutionary timeline, the man who hesitated to categorize a stranger often didn't survive. So when someone underestimates you, it's not personal, it's neurological. Their brain scanned you, found no immediate status markers, and filed you under safe to ignore. They didn't choose to dismiss you, their autopilot did. But here's the layer most people miss. People don't just underestimate based on what they see. They underestimate based on what they need to believe. Because if they acknowledged your potential, if they saw you clearly, they'd have to reconsider their own position. And that's uncomfortable. It's easier to believe you're not a threat. It's easier to assume you don't have what it takes. Because the alternative, that you're quietly building something that will make them irrelevant, is terrifying. So they underestimate you not because of your weakness, but because of their comfort. Let's not pretend it doesn't hurt. It does. Being underestimated is one of the most corrosive experiences a man can endure, because it's not a single event. It's a pattern. It's the meeting where your idea is ignored, and then celebrated when someone else says the same thing 5 minutes later. It's the promotion that goes to the louder, flashier colleague who does half the work. It's the family member who still treats you like the kid you were 15 years ago. It's the look that says, "That's cute," when you share your ambition. And over time, the external underestimation seeps inward. You start underestimating yourself. You start believing the file they put you in. Maybe I'm not that smart. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe I should just accept my place. This is the real danger. Not what they think of you, but what they make you think of yourself. Psychologists call this the stereotype threat. When people are aware that others expect them to perform poorly, their actual performance drops, not because of ability, but because of the psychological weight of low expectations. The expectation itself becomes the handicap. Studies have shown this across every domain. Students who are told they're expected to score low on a test score lower, regardless of their actual ability. Athletes who are underestimated perform below their capacity. Employees who are overlooked produce less, not because they can't, because the weight of being dismissed takes up mental bandwidth that should be used for performing. And this is the first battle the underestimated man must win, the internal one. Before he proves them wrong, he must stop proving them right inside his own head. Now let's talk about why being underestimated, once you survive the pain, becomes your greatest strategic advantage. In every competitive arena, business, sports, relationships, life, the most dangerous player is the one nobody is watching. Because attention brings pressure, and pressure brings interference. The person everyone expects to win carries an enormous burden. Every move is scrutinized. Every mistake is amplified. Every moment of weakness is cataloged and discussed. The spotlight is warm, but it burns. The underestimated man carries none of this. He operates below the radar. He experiments freely because nobody is watching his experiments. He fails privately because nobody is tracking his failures. He iterates, adjusts, and evolves, all in the dark. And by the time anyone notices, he's already 3 moves ahead. This is what strategists call the stealth advantage. In military theory, the most effective forces are not the biggest. They're the least visible. Submarines win wars that battleships cannot. Not because they're stronger, because they're unseen. History confirms this relentlessly. Every empire that fell was brought down not by the enemy they feared, but by the one they dismissed. Every market disruption came not from the established giants, but from the small player nobody took seriously. Every revolution was led not by the powerful, but by the ones the powerful ignored. And there's a deeper psychological advantage. When you've been underestimated, your success hits harder, because it comes with the force of surprise. The expected winner getting the prize is a transaction. The underdog winning is a story, and stories spread. Stories inspire. Stories are remembered. The man who was supposed to win and wins gets a handshake. The man who wasn't supposed to win and wins gets a legend. But being underestimated only becomes a weapon if you do one thing. Keep your mouth shut. This is where most men fail. They get underestimated and they react. They argue. They try to convince. They over-explain their qualifications. They post their progress on social media looking for validation. They announce their plans to prove they're serious. And in doing so, they destroy the advantage. Because the moment you react to being underestimated, you've handed the power back to the people who dismissed you. You've made their opinion the center of your universe. You've turned your journey into a performance for an audience that doesn't deserve a seat. The disciplined response to being underestimated is silence. Absolute, strategic, devastating silence. You don't correct their assumptions. You let them believe whatever they want. You smile when they patronize you. You nod when they explain things you already know. You let them feel comfortable in their superiority, because their comfort is your cover. And then you work, quietly, relentlessly. In the hours they spend talking, you build. In the attention they spend performing, you produce. In the energy they waste on image management, you invest in substance. The 48 Laws of Power describes this as playing the fool. Not because you are a fool, but because appearing less capable than you are gives you room to maneuver that the obvious player never has. The obvious player is always defended against. The invisible player walks through doors that aren't even guarded. Sun Tzu wrote, "Appear weak when you are strong," not as deception for its own sake, but as strategy. Because the man who appears harmless has access that the man who appears threatening never will. Your silence isn't weakness. It's a loaded weapon with the safety on. And you decide when to fire. There comes a moment, and if you've been patient enough, disciplined enough, quiet enough, where the truth reveals itself. Not through your words, through your results. The business you built in silence reaches a scale they can no longer ignore. The skills you developed in private produce outcomes they can't explain. The transformation you went through while they weren't looking makes you unrecognizable. And in that moment, the people who underestimated you will experience something they never expected to feel. Irrelevance. Their opinion of you, the one they were so confident in, just became meaningless. Because reality overwrote their narrative. And reality doesn't argue, it just arrives. Some of them will pretend they always believed in you. I knew he had it in him. Let them. Their revisionism is the highest compliment. Some of them will resent you. They'll find reasons why your success isn't real, isn't deserved, isn't sustainable. Let them. Their denial is their problem, not yours. And some, the rare, honest ones, will come to you and say, "I was wrong about you." Those are the ones worth keeping, because the ability to admit you misjudged someone is rarer than any success. But here's the part nobody warns you about. The reveal isn't as satisfying as you imagined, not because it doesn't feel good, but because by the time you get there, you've changed. You're no longer the man who needed their approval. You've outgrown the audience. You did the work for yourself, not for the moment of proving them wrong. And that quiet, internal evolution is the real victory. Not the reveal, not the recognition, not the applause. The fact that you became someone who doesn't need the applause. That's the power of being underestimated. Doesn't just build your skills, it builds your character. If nobody believes in you right now, good. If nobody sees your potential, perfect. If nobody thinks you're a threat, even better. Because every moment of being overlooked is a moment of building without interference. Every dismissal is another brick in the foundation nobody knows you're laying. Every underestimation is another advantage you're banking for the day the truth comes out. And the truth always comes out, not because you announce it, because results are louder than words, because substance is heavier than image, because the man who was forged in silence carries a weight that the man who was built in spotlight will never understand. Let them underestimate you. Let them sleep. Let them feel safe. And when they finally wake up, you'll already be gone. Miles ahead. Untouchable. Unrecognizable. Not because you proved them wrong, because you outgrew the need to. This is Obscura. Clarity through darkness.